All right, a very good morning to everyone who's joined. Before I start, can I invite everyone to just turn on your cameras? Don't be shy. We like to have a more interactive session, so it just enables us to know who we are talking to today. Yeah, so maybe just turn on your cameras whenever you're comfortable. Yeah. Okay, nice to see everyone today. So good morning and thanks for joining us today. And welcome to the virtual NUS Fintech Summit 2024, where we will be having our virtual kickoff. This event is co-organized by the NUS Fintech Society, the NUS Asian Institute of Digital Finance, and the NUS Fintech Lab. Before we fully start, let me introduce our logo hunt game for today, where you can stand a chance to win an Apple AirTag. Throughout the event today, our 4 platinum sponsor logos have been inserted into today's slides. Your goal is to look out and count the total number of any of the 4 platinum sponsor logos located anywhere within our slides, starting now. At the end of the event, you will be invited to submit the total count of the number of platinum sponsor logos via our NUS FinTech Summit Telegram channel, where the fastest correct answers will be able to win an Apple AirTag. Today's game instructions will also be sent in a Telegram channel. If you've not already been added, be sure to join the Telegram channel to take part in the game by scanning this QR code. We will also use this channel to provide updates about anything and everything related to the NUS FinTech Summit 2024. We're going to flash this screen for a bit, so please just scan the QR code if you haven't joined, and just give me a thumbs up or an emoji when you're done. Okay, moving on. I'd like to invite everyone to scan this QR code or use the link to access today's event booklet that contains all the important information for the NUS FinTech Summit 2024. And not to worry if you miss it, we're going to flash this again. Now, to start today's event, we will be introducing our various sponsors for the summit, followed by a hackathon briefing and presentation of the problem statements by our platinum sponsors. Finally, we will have a short Q&A in our breakout rooms with our hackathon judges, where you can join a room and engage with them and ask them any questions you may have about the hackathon this year. Now, without further ado, let me officially begin the NUS FinTech Summit 2024. My name is Kishan, and I'm from the Fintech Society's Internal Affairs Department, and I'll be your MC for today. I'd like to start by thanking everyone for taking precious time out of your schedule this holiday season to kickstart our NUS FinTech Summit 2024. Now, before I begin, let me introduce what NUS Fintech Society is all about. We were founded in 2018 by a group of students who are fintech enthusiasts in collaboration with the NUS Fintech Lab. Through organizing events and engaging in industry collaborations, we aim to raise awareness and educate the next generation of fintech professionals amongst us. In the process, we also look forward to growing our fintech knowledge and building our relationships with various industry partners, such as our sponsors for this event. We have a total of 4 departments: machine learning, software development, blockchain, and quant. Throughout the years, we have been actively involved in designing and creating projects in the fintech space. Through our robust event planning team, we have also provided opportunities for our members to gain access to insightful events and even internships. Now, without further ado, let us go through the theme of this year's summit. The theme for this year revolves around fintech as a service. And for the purpose of this hackathon, we define fintech as a service as a means to provide interoperable solutions to embed financial-related capabilities into existing applications, products, and services. Now, in the spirit of assisting our journey with understanding this broad term, NUS FinTech Summit 2024 has also organized a bunch of workshops and hackathon over the next month. Additionally, our platinum sponsors and judges have also prepared a mini presentation on their respective tracks, to explain how the idea of fintech as a service can be integrated into their problem statements. And of course, this event will not have been made possible without the help of our various sponsors and partners who have contributed vast amounts of time and energy and resources into making the NUS Fintech Summit 2024 a successful reality. Now, introducing our sponsors for this event, we have our platinum sponsors that include ELF, Toka Labs, Northern Trust, and Ripple. We also have our gold tier sponsors, which include Thought Machine and eFinancial Careers. And we also have our silver sponsors, which include Flowdesk, Coinbase, Endeavors, Alibaba Cloud, MetaCamp, and Hashkey Capital. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our sponsors for their continuous support of NUS Fintech Society. For our summit this year, as we mentioned, we also have organized various workshops for the month of January. Our very first workshop will be held on the physical opening day itself on the 5th of January by ELF. We will also be having 3 days of pure workshops, with day 1 being held virtually on the 10th of January, with these following sessions conducted as you can see on screen. Day 2 will also be held virtually on the 11th of January with these workshops. And the final day of our 3-day workshop series will be held in person in NUS with these companies as shown on screen. And aside from our workshops, we are also honored to host esteemed representatives from various companies on both on our opening day on the 5th of Jan and on our demonstration day on the 19th of Jan. So do take some time to sign up with these QR codes on screen. And once again, all this information is included in our event booklet, so not to worry if you miss any details. Okay, let me now move on to the hackathon briefing. There will be a total of 3 stages in the hackathon: the ideation stage, the prototype stage, and the final stage. Each stage will require participants to submit a different set of deliverables. For the ideation stage, participants will be required to provide a pitch deck of no more than 6 slides, as well as an ideation report detailing your motivations for the idea. For the prototype stage, participants will be required to submit a working video pitch, a working deployment of the API, and a GitHub source code link. And for the final stage, finalists will then be able to pitch your ideas. Please also note, for the prototype and the final stage, further information will be provided in the coming weeks, so do keep a lookout for it. And here are a few things to take note of for the hackathon. Firstly, all registration and submission will be made through this Google form, so please take some time now to scan it and save it, as it's the very first step to starting your hackathon journey. The dev post link for the ideation stage submission will also be embedded in this Google form, and teams that progress to the prototype stage will be provided with a new dev post link to submit your prototypes. All prototypes must follow the specific use of the tools as listed in the requirements, if there are any. And please also note that for the prototype deployments, it can be made on any source of your choice. The submission process for the hackathon will be as such. First, create a DevPost account that can be found in this QR code and join our hackathon this year. Next, create a project and start to search for and invite teammates. Lastly, fill in and upload your documents and submit your work. Importantly, the link has been provided in the slides as well as the event booklet, so do look for that. Here are some key dates to take note of for this summit. The ideation stage deadline will be on the 1st of January 2024 at 2359. The Fintech Summit opening ceremony will be on the 5th of January, and after which you will be required to submit your prototypes by the deadline of 9 January at 2359. Similar to your first submission, we will send out a dev post link to your emails, so please do look up for that. We are also going to conduct the Hacker House on the 17th and 18th January in preparation for the final submission deadline. It will fall on the 18th of January. The final submission deadline will fall on the 18th of January at 2359. And finally, to bring the Fintech Summit 2024 to a grand closure, there will be a demo day and a career fair held at Suntec City on the 19th of January. And with that, we come to perhaps the most exciting part, the cash prizes to be won for this hackathon. For the grand prize, the winning team for each track will receive 5,000 Singapore dollars. The second place winner will receive $3,000, and in third place, the winning team will receive $2,000. Now it's time for us to invite our platinum sponsors from ELF, Northern Trust, Toka Labs, and Ripple to deliver their opening address and introduce their problem statements. First, for sharing the problem statement for blockchain, let's invite Mr. Alvin Shah and Mr. Manish from Northern Trust. Mr. Alvin Shah is the head of digital assets and innovation of the Asia Pacific region from Northern Trust. Mr. Chia, please.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Hi, everybody. Alvin's probably dialing in, but I can fill in for Alvin. This is Manish Shah, and I'm the head of digital assets for Asia Pacific Technology. So first of all, I would like to thank you guys for inviting us. And I just want to start off by just giving a small introduction about Northern Trust and what we do, and then jump straight into the problem statement. So first of all, Northern Trust, we're almost a 130-year-old institutional bank. We've got several services under our belt, ranging from asset management to wealth management, and a lot of our businesses are driven through that. We've got a very, very large global presence spanning all over to about 22 global locations. We serve in about 100 odd markets and other stuff. And we've been recognized globally with some of the prestigious awards across, which includes the Best Custodian Award for Asset Management, and Best Global Custodian, Best in Aligning Benefits and People Matters Awards, and several of those that we have in our credit. So with that, I'll just jump straight on the problem statement. So the problem statement revolves around blockchain. So if you notice that today's banking industry is kind of in different parts, wherein we serve different clients and different technologies come into play. Right? So what is happening is that most of these networks that are being run are in private blockchains. Like everybody is running a separate private blockchain because nobody wants to get into public blockchain as early as possible. So, but that's where the problem lies, right? So today, let's say Northern Trust is running a private bank and private network of our own, and then we've got JP Morgan running its own private consortium network and other stuff. But eventually, what we expect is that all of these private networks have to come together, and there has to be some sort of an interoperability that should exist, which is where I think our challenge comes into play today. When we want to try and give you an exposure to have some sort of an interoperability solution where, let's say, we are issuing some tokens across in one of our own private networks. It could be running on an EVM based platform, right? It could be an Ethereum based network. It could be on one of the layer 2 or layer 1 protocols, right? And then there is another network which is running on a separate network. Now, how do we actually do a collaboration? How do we actually transfer the tokens which are issued in one private network to another one? Or it could be vice versa. Right? It could be a hybrid network where we have a public network on one side and we have a private network on the other side. How do we really have some sort of interoperability? With that, we could actually have cross-chain interoperability and also unlocking some of the diverse liquidity pools across the financial institutions. That is about the problem statement for today. Is that okay? I'm happy to take in through any questions or anything, right? So this is where this slide comes in, which talks about what is it that your slide should contain and what is it that we are looking up, right? So we are looking at some of the smart contract compatibility issues that needs to be addressed, and technical intricacies of ideas that needs to be solved, and how do we really flow through some of these tokens, and what are some of the complexities in today's cross-chain complexities that are there in today's cross-chain transactions. That is something that we are expecting to be solved here. I think that's about it from a problem statement perspective. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manish. We actually saved the questions for our Q&A in the breakout
Sure.
rooms after the session, so participants will be
Okay.
free to ask you at their own pace. But thank you so much for sharing your what your company does and your problem statement.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, let's invite Mr. Jason Tigers, a developer advocate from Ripple, to share more about the software development problem statement. Mr. Tigers, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Jason, and I'll just give you a brief description of what Ripple does. So many of you are probably familiar with Ripple. If you're familiar with crypto, we are the 5th largest by market cap. And we recently won some major wins against the SEC, which were covered widely on the news. Ripple has mainly 2 divisions. The first is RippleNet, which not many people know about. This is a part of the company that builds enterprise solutions, which for solving financial problems. And this includes working with major financial companies around the world and governments to solve things like payments, cross-border remittances, stable coins, and other things. On the other side, there's another division for Ripple called RippleX, and that's the side that I work for. And the main purpose of this division is to foster the developer community to create their own financial solutions. And we do that through things such as hackathons like this, through accelerators, through grants programs, and we're constantly also adding new features to the blockchain through amendments. And one of those features is going to be one of the topics of this hackathon that we're going to present, and it's regarding the EVM blockchain. You wouldn't happen to have the actual problem statement, would you? Oh, there you go. So I'll just read through this problem statement. XRPL is one of the largest blockchains by market capitalization, valued at over 30 billion. Currently in development, the XRPL EVM sidechain will provide new functionality to unlock the full potential of all that liquidity in ways not possible before on XRPL mainnet. And the question is, how can we utilize XRPL and its EVM sidechain to create a DeFi application that tackles a specific real-world financial challenge or that significantly enhances an existing financial system? So what we're trying to go for here is to utilize our new EVM sidechain that we just created. It's still in beta mode. And if you're familiar with Solidity and Ethereum, you can take all of that knowledge and apply it to our EVM sidechain, which is connected to our mainnet through a new cross-chain bridge technology that we developed called XLS38D. And that's another piece of the technology that you'll be using to solve this problem. And then for bonus points, what we're trying to focus on with the EVM sidechain is that we want to use the mainnet for what its strengths are, and we want to use the EVM sidechain for like a computational layer for all the things that the mainnet can't handle. So you would be splitting up your functionality between mainnet and the sidechain accordingly. And so though that's not a strict requirement, it's something that would get you bonus points when we evaluate the projects. And that's all I had.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Jason. Okay, now let's move on to the problem statement from ELF. So next up, let's invite Mr. Leong Hang Wai, a business development associate from ELF, who will be sharing the problem statement for software development and blockchain. Mr. Leong, the stage is yours.
Hey, thanks, Kishan. Hi everyone, my name is Han, and I'm part of the BD team at ELF, focusing on ecosystem growth and development. As part of NUS Fintech Summit 2024, I will share more on ELF and an overview of the challenge statement we issue for this hackathon. Next, please. So a little bit on ELF. ELF is a layer 1 blockchain founded in 2017, and our vision is to bring mass adoption of Web3 user by real users. And every technical decisions that goes into creating ELF is based on this vision of mass adoption. Next. Next, please. Yeah. Oh, sorry. One slide back. Yeah. So some of the decisions include adopting C# as our smart contract language. As you may know, C# is the most popular programming language among enterprise, and this will allow us to have access to a large existing pool of developers. So ELF also enables enterprise to customize their own sidechain to suit their use case. So this also allows multiple sidechains to operate without congestion. And last but not least, ELF adopts a plug-and-play mentality to allow speedy launch and deployment of the apps. Okay, moving on to the next slide. The vision of our vision of mass adoption actually drove us to create this challenge statement for this hackathon. So what kind of enterprise solution or products can we build on ELF to make it more user-friendly for the masses? It's a bit loaded, so allow me to dissect that. So there is actually two parts to this problem statement, the enterprise portion as well as the adoption portion. So we'll go in depth into both these parts. Moving on to the enterprise portion, right? What does it take for an enterprise to use blockchain or Web3 technology? For this, you actually need to consider a few things. Number one, what challenge do enterprise face that can be solved by blockchain? Right? To go one level deeper, we have to consider what are the practical use of blockchain. Is it transparency, immutability, or other advantages of using blockchain technology? The second thing to consider is what's the additional push or incentive they need in order to adopt this blockchain technology. Because it's not just enough to solve the issue at hand. If it is, they will have done it already. But what's the added benefit for this enterprise to adopt this solution? Could it be cost savings? Could it be profit? Could be saving of man hours? So these are things that you need to consider so you can attract enterprise to your solution. Lastly, what's the potential hurdle that they need to go through to adopt your solution? Could it be that they need to integrate your solution with other enterprise software? Could it be a data security and compliance issue? Or do they need to retrain a significant portion of their workforce? Keeping those in mind, you might want to mitigate or minimize these hurdles so that it's easier for enterprise to adopt this. Moving on to the user adoption front. So in terms of user adoption, there are a few well-known hurdles that prevents users from adopting Web3 products. Such examples include poor UI UX, a cumbersome onboarding process, or even bad retention rate. So one of the best ways you can refer to is how traditional business onboard existing users onto their digital platforms. From there, you will be able to gain insights on how you can adopt similar best practices to your proposed solution. Moving to the next slide. So to channel your ideation process, we have narrowed down the focus industries into 3: FMCG, gaming, and tourism. You may target any business aspects or processes in these industries. And as we covered in the earlier slide, it will be helpful to bear in mind a few things. What motivates these enterprise and their users? What hurdles do they face when they are considering a blockchain solution or product? And how can you bridge these gaps that you have identified? So moving on to the next slide. Next. Yeah. So one of the hurdles we have identified and solved is the ease of onboarding via wallet. Predominantly to access blockchain or Web3 technology, users are onboarded via a chunky wallet interface, and they'll be forced to memorize a seed phrase. So this action itself has written away everyday users, as it is far too complicated for them. So one of our DApps on ELF ecosystem, Portkey, has already solved that by replacing seed phrase with familiar login methods such as social media logins. Your goal for this hackathon, next slide, please. Yeah, your goal for this hackathon is to develop a Web 2.5 solution that is, number one, consumer facing. Number two, solve a need for this enterprise. And last but not least, utilize the Portkey wallet solution as I presented earlier. The objective of your solution is to enable enterprise to transit to using blockchain technology and enhance the accessibility of blockchain products for the masses. For this hackathon, there are two main criteria that we will be judging you on. Number one, the value proposition of your products from enterprise perspective, and number two, how smooth the user journey is or user experience is for everyday user. Moving on, the support that we will be providing, I believe Kishan has mentioned it earlier. To help you build your solution, we will be organizing this development workshop on the basic of building on ELF blockchain. This would be happening on the 5th of January, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. after the NUS opening ceremony happening at NUS Com 3. So we would like to highly encourage and welcome everyone to join us at this workshop to explore more and learn how to build on ELF. Thank you. So if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer them in the breakout room. Back to you, Kishan.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Lim, for your sharing. Okay, last but not least, let's invite Mr. Cheng Qian and Ms. Kylie, who will be introducing Toka Labs and talking more about the problem statement for the quant departments. Mr. Cheng and Ms. Kylie, please.
Okay, hi everyone. Okay, hi everyone. Hear me. So good morning. I'm Kylie and I head up the talent acquisition here at Toka Labs. For those of you who are maybe a bit unfamiliar, Toka Labs is a proprietary quant trading firm based in Singapore. And our dynamic team here is basically comprised of quant traders, researchers, and software engineers. And our business is basically engaging in high-frequency automated trading strategies within the realm of decentralized finance, or more familiarly, DeFi. Right, so our business here kind of covers quite a few areas, quite a broad scope of what DeFi trading would cover. Essentially, we are market makers, we are searchers, we are solvers on all of the top protocols within the blockchain space. So we've been basically in this space for over the last 5 years, pretty much for the entire existence of DeFi being a commercial business, and plus minus 1 or 2 more years beyond that. So in our space, we are basically consistently pioneering cutting edge work. Our entire core of the business here is basically trying to push the boundaries of what's possible within this space. So along those lines, we're obviously very thrilled, right, to be part of the NUS Fintech Summit, and we're very eager and anticipating all the incredible ideas that this summit will undoubtedly bring forth. So without further ado, I would like to invite my colleague Cheng Qian, who will introduce our problem statement.
Yep. Our problem is actually focusing on the Uniswap, which is the largest automatic market making protocol on DeFi now. And Uniswap is well known for its constant product formula to when discovering price. That's X times Y equals K. And there are two kinds of players in their model. One is the liquidity provider, one is the trader. So basically, traders pay the trading fees for swap, while LPs receive the fees and take the risk of the implement loss. So in case of anyone who are not familiar with this model and what is implement loss, we can think of like a simple scenario. So let's say I am a liquidity provider. I provide both token X and token Y into a Uniswap pool at the time T0. Then let's say if the price keeps going up, the token X price keeps going up until T1. So by nature of the Uniswap, I'm actually selling my X gradually through this process, which means at time T1, if I look at my portfolio, I compare the value of my portfolio if I invest in the Uniswap position, and if I hold the initial portfolio, there is a value change, and actually it's a value loss. So that's called implement loss. So why is it impermanent? Is because if let's say in future in time T2 the price go back to T0, then the loss is actually gone. So that is why I call impermanent loss. So why is this important? Is because that in the new model Uniswap V3, because of the concentrated liquidity, the impact of the impermanent loss is much higher compared to the previous V2's version. And in order to be a successful LP, you must take care of the impermanent loss. So that's why we raised this question for the competition. Next slide, please. Yeah. So as for what's the standard we are expected, so basically for the very basic standard is that you need to come up with a model to model the impairment loss and estimate the future impairment loss in a forward-looking perspective and find a corresponding hedging method yourself. And a slightly higher standard will be that you can find an optimal minting strategy corresponding with the hedging strategy as well, in order to optimize the overall return of the whole portfolio. And the outperform standard will be that you can find the real life instrument either on chain or off chain and collect the historical data to backtest your strategy and show the feasibility and the profitability of your strategy. So yeah, I know it's not an easy task for a 1 month's competition, but I do hope you can try your best. And definitely you will learn more about DeFi and what's actually going on with the trading firms in DeFi. And yeah, after all, if you feel quite interested in DeFi, you're welcome to join Toka, and we can together expand the border of the DeFi. Yeah, that's all for my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Kylie and Mr. Cheng, for your sharing. Once again, we'll be having all our questions in the breakout room later on, so do hang on to them. So now that we have come to the end of all of our problem statement releases, we will also be closing our exciting game that I mentioned at the very start of today's event. In the Telegram group that we mentioned, you will be able to find the topic Virtual Game Opening Day. And now it's time for you to key in the total number of Platinum sponsor logos in the chat that you've counted and stand your chance to win an Apple AirTag. Do note that you're only entitled to one response, so do make it count. Winners will be contacted through Telegram and will be presented with your Apple AirTag during the opening ceremony on the 5th of January. So in closing, a big thank you to all of our Platinum sponsors for their insightful presentations and to all of you for attending this virtual session. Now, before we end the session, we have a few admin instructions that we would like to broadcast. The first, please scan this QR code to help us fill in this feedback form. We truly appreciate all your feedback, and we hope to make more improvements for our future events coming up. Here are upcoming activities for the NUS Fintech Summit 2024, as I mentioned in our previous slides. Most importantly, take note of the events that we'll be hosting. Our summit opening ceremony on the 5th of Jan, our Hacker House on the 17th and 18th Jan, and our very own demonstration day and career fair on the 19th of Jan. Most importantly, do be reminded that the submission for the ideation stage will end on the 1st of January 2359, and we look forward to all your interesting ideas. And of course, before we leave for the breakout rooms, if you haven't already, please connect with us and reach out on our different social platforms. Lastly, to commemorate this event, can I please invite everyone to just turn on your camera so that we can take a quick snapshot of this moment. Thank you so much.
One, two, three. Okay, thanks everyone.